Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Come one, come all. We're here at the shooting range. Hey, man, we started on time, all right? We started on time. Let's give it that. Wesley, do you want to stay employed?
Whoa, thank you, Wesley. I was just about to compliment you on the music, and so I will just go ahead and combine that compliment, with what you just did right there for me. In the chamber.
Well, if you're listening, then you know, with beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are here for episode 7 of the Shootin Range. With myself, the natural born leader, Johnny Z, and my close compadre, my best friend, Jermaine Johnson.
You're my best friend too, boss man. Happy to be on the Shootin Range. That's the point where you go.
I don't do that.
You don't,
That's your thing.
I know. I'm trying.
He
to get
wasn't
it over.
happy, by the way, like half an hour ago, people. I said this dude was hostile. He wanted to be nowhere near this show. This is our format. And just so you know,
they can't see it.
The upper half, they could.
They
It's
can't
in
see
HD.
it.
It's in 720p, as a matter of fact.
Man,
the upper half of that was actually this Saturday's show. The 2 lines below that were tonight's format.
Everyone who knows us knows format is an issue with us. Everyone. So, hey, there you go.
There you go.
It's no different here, neither.
No different.
We are no more prepared than we are at any other point.
Wesley, if I was prepared, then right now I would not be getting ready to ask you for M&Ms. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you for M&Ms with peanuts right now. And maybe some blow pop, or 2, something like that. But
blow pop.
I'm supposed to have some pizza on the way, actually.
Really?
I
Really? Dang.
Yes. Everyone, it is so awesome to be here again. It truly is. I hope that you've enjoyed the first 6 episodes of this show. I hope you enjoy what we have in store. My friend Jermaine here, he's been in contact with a couple of people,
Yes,
I believe.
Yes, I have.
About being special call-in guest on the Shootin Range. Previously. Previously we had Al Snow. First off, I do want to real quick send a big shout out to one of our production people in the back here at IZW, a guy who's been a big part of helping us continue to become more and more professional. Rob Faust, who is having a family, what do we call it, medical situation right now.
Medical.
Just basically keep him in your prayers and your thoughts. His family, they could use it right now. Don't need to go into any more detail than that. But if you know him, don't know him, just know that he's a good guy, that he would do it for you, and
Definitely.
that he is family. So, you know what? Have your thoughts, your prayers with him, please. Whatever you believe in, talk to him. Make it happen.
Let him know you're there.
Yes. So, that's about as vague as I could get, I think.
Yeah.
And if you're out there, Rob, and you're listening,
Twitterless Rob.
to the audience, we would be more than welcome to have you in, but I understand. What's the deal with Brad Michaels? This dude has been a no-show for a couple of weeks now. What is up with that? Brad Michaels, the call-out's out to you. We want you back on the Shootin Range. As a matter of fact, I talk about that because Wesley, here in a second.
Wesley getting the M&Ms.
Oh, he's getting the M&Ms. So in a little bit, in a couple minutes, we're going to go back into Brad Michaels from last week. You know what? You know why this show does so well, right? You know why the listeners are just climbing.
Is it to see which M&Ms you're gonna get?
We have no competition.
No, not at all. We are the WWE of
yeah,
this.
You gotta hold down. But no,
Yeah.
we're not. Don't ever mention that name because that's who's not the competition.
We don't want them to become the competition. Okay.
Oh
okay.
no, we don't. And the thing is, the fact that they're on TV is the reason we have such great numbers. Legitimately, I mean, because nobody's watching that crap. Was there no blow pops, Wesley? I did. Is that ice cream? That's horrible. I want to know, do you have a picture of Brad? Yeah. I wanted to talk about him. I'll jump on that real quick because you're awesome. See, that's what happened. Things happen, even live right here. This is how it goes down. Sometimes something just has to go down, and you're getting to see it happen. Oh.
Ah, man. So, man, you know what? I'm going to throw it out there. I know everyone's waiting for it, and I'm going to deliver it. That's what I do. Man, we got Franklin Lee on the line. I say go ahead and hit the button. Let's see what he wants to talk about. Yeah. I know it. Franklin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Jermaine. Hey, Johnny, how you guys doing this evening?
Hey, Merry Christmas, Franklin.
I say we're doing
Thank
all right,
you.
man.
Oh, that's good.
I hope you are too. And we're gonna start this off here by you had your Hall of Fame this week, right?
All right.
Ah, man.
Well, before
Let us know who you inducted. What's going down? The Franklin Lee Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir. For those who don't follow me on my Facebook page, you know that 2 years ago I started the Franklin Lee Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame as my way of saying thank you to the fine men and women of this great sport that is professional wrestling for all their hard work and sacrifices to entertain the fans, because it's the least I can do for everything that they've done. And right now, as of this moment, Hall of Fame consists of 10 members. And 2 of the 3 members of the 2013 class got inducted this past Saturday night. That would be Stryker, and of course, the first manager and referee to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Butterscotch Mark Wilson.
Yes.
Who else are other members of the Hall of Fame? Let us know the inductees. Give the people the history. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Inform us of the inductees.
All right. Well, as I mentioned a few moments ago, I started this Hall of Fame back in 2011, and the first class had 3 members in it. The very first was a female wrestler / promoter / manager by the name of Lady Amazon, who works out of the Tennessee area. Next behind that was Coach Gary Toole, who, for those of you who don't know, major player behind the scenes and one of the people responsible for the success that IZW has had. And then, of course, independent cruiserweight / junior heavyweight by the name of Craig Classic, who was the guy that ended Mike Quackenbush's 3.5-year stranglehold on the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship. So that was your class of 2011. Then 2012, the biggest that I had 4 members get inducted. We had Adam Pearce, time NWA World Heavyweight Champion and former booking.
1 second, Franklin. Hold up. Wesley.
Problem?
Wesley. Is there volume playing on that thing? Oh, no. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, continue, Franklin. We didn't want to be rude.
Yep. We left off on the class of 2012, which was at that point in time the biggest class for this Hall of Fame, which consisted of Adam Pearce, who was 5-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, former booker of Ring of Honor Wrestling. He also had that long-standing feud with Colt Cabana and the they had. Then you had Dan the Beast Severn, who's a NWA and UFC Hall of Famer. John O'Malley, the first.
John O'Malley?
Did you just say Dan Severn?
John O'Malley.
Nah,
did you say Dan Severn?
Dan Severn.
Okay.
You got something to say about Dan Severn, the Beast? Dan the Beast Severn?
No.
Okay. All right.
I just want to make sure I heard right.
Yes, you did. Dan the Beast Severn getting mentioned on the Shootin Range. Anyway, all right, go ahead,
And
Franklin.
Then you had John O'Malley, the first IZW Crown winner, as well as the only IZW 5-bagger champion, meaning he's held the heavyweight title, the Impact Division title, the tag title, the cruiserweight title, and hardcore. And that's a feat, fortunately,
What'd you say?
duplicated because the cruiserweight and hardcore titles no longer exist.
Yes, I'm not sure
And
what an
then
IZW 5-bagger is. I don't think that's a term that is recognized here.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna go with that.
But he did do it. He did win 5 titles, although, 2 of them are inactive now?
Yeah.
So that really means they don't matter, Franklin.
Yep. And then, of course, our very own host of the Shootin Range, a natural-born leader, Z, got inducted.
The most important
2012.
member. The most important member. Let's remember that, people.
And for those of you who are not aware, Johnny Z, a 2-time promoter of the year, as well as this year's Franklin Lee Pro Wrestling Wrestler of the Year, because let's face it, nobody had a better year than the savior of wrestling.
Ah, man. Oh, all right.
What do you?
No.
Are you disputing that?
Ah,
Are you
man.
disputing the fact that I've had an awesome year?
No, I'm not disputing it, man. I got ice cream sandwiches getting thrown at me. You got
watch.
Wesley on your side. Hey,
Of
there you
course,
go.
Wesley's
You got
on
it.
my side.
You got it.
Franklin's on my side. The world's on my side.
The world.
Jermaine.
Why? All right.
That's why they're all here.
Well, let's
Oh,
Why do you
when
keep
you held,
cutting
when
out,
you held
Franklin?
the IZ champion in March, and nobody's been able to take the belt from you. I mean, let's face it, that's what you call a successful year.
who you yelling at? Huh?
Yeah.
Who you yelling at?
Are you yelling, Franklin? Are
Yelling
you
at me?
getting all hostile?
Yeah,
over
you
there?
sound like you getting hot. Don't
Listen,
get hot with me.
Am I quiet again? What keeps going down here? I guess I just got to every once in a while. How's that? Is that better? I bet everyone at home loves listening to us work on the radio. So listen, Franklin, we've enjoyed having you on again. Merry Christmas, sir. We hope to see you here very soon. But right now, we're going to go ahead and go back to last week. We're going to finish up our discussion on Brad Michaels. And then we're going to have tonight's topic. And we're going to see if we can turn this mofo out. So, thank you.
All righty.
So, Wesley, if we can get that fine bean footage. Bam! The man, Brad Michaels, #1 contender to my IZW championship.
Him and Double D had a pretty spectacular matchup at Chaotic Christmas.
They did have a pretty spectacular matchup. I appreciated it. The fans appreciated it. I know that Jermaine Johnson appreciated it.
I did. Even though I don't really like Bad Brad Michaels, I did appreciate him beating Double D, who I hate more. So,
I appreciate a good match, and I appreciate someone getting the job done.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I haven't.
finally
Which
he got it done.
Oh, finally!
Oh,
Come
man.
on, man. He's a gamer. You need to come in this way a little.
Nah.
Here's the deal. Brad Michaels been around with our company since 2005, January of 2005. Been there since the second show. He's taken his time off, had his breaks. He's had things going on, things he's had to get done, accomplished, moving on up in life, making things happen, starting a family, all that jazz. But inside, man, we just got some love brought in. Should we bring that on air?
I don't know, man.
People, we just had Pizza Hut brought in. Someone just informed us that he's also the MSWA champ, which he is. Or unless you're talking about me. Maybe that person's talking about me. I don't know. But talking about me? Whoa, are we going to eat this?
I'm not.
Why aren't you going to eat this? Everyone, what say Pizza Hut? Get out a couple pieces of that pepperoni, man. We should eat this.
Hold on, man.
Should
hold
we
on.
sit this?
You
Okay.
sit it down. Yeah, let's do that. Finish your thoughts on Brad, man. You get all kinds of distracted.
Oh, I'm
cats
sorry,
and
man. Well, it
around
is the
this bug.
shooting range. That's what happens.
All right, yeah, get.
Basically, I was gonna say that Brad and I's careers, I think, have intertwined to an extent since 2005. His first night in IZW, he wrestled in a tag match with me, and I remember him telling me after the match in pretty choice terms that I was not to determine when things should happen in a match at this point in my career, I guess would be the best way to explain it. And this is from an employee to an employer, if you will. And that just goes to show that these guys, and I appreciate it, took it to heart at the time as far as bringing a young guy up. And when we were in that ring, the whole promoter wrestler thing was put to the side, and it was simply Greenhorn, not vet at the time, he wouldn't even say that, but more experienced worker trying to bring along a Greenhorn. And we've all grown together, and that's crazy because that dude's younger than me by a lot of years. Now, most of the other dudes who are helping bring me up are a couple years older than me, but hey, whatever. But the thing is, it's crazy because Brad had been in the business, I guess, a couple years before I got in. I got in 02. I think he gets in the late 90s, like 98, 99, somewhere in there. So he's probably got about a 2 or 3 year head start. But we both started because I think learning the business actually together at IZW and all that. I mean, I think the first 2 or 3 years he had spent just
toning his craft.
Yeah, becoming just as good a worker as he could, chasing that dream of going to the WWE, trying to get to that next level. He was traveling. He went to CZW, a couple other places, did some things, but I don't think that, and I don't think anyone does maybe necessarily when they first get in the business, necessarily pays attention to the business, if that makes sense. This is one when I want to talk about it. You have to explain it right, but because everyone says, "Oh, well, I'm in the business, so I'm learning about the business," but that's not true, man.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah,
on that business side.
Yeah,
there's a different world.
Well, just learning about the business and how it works as a whole, because you can just show up and say, "Hey, I'm going to be a great little worker and be in this bubble." Or you're just worried about getting in shape and having good matches and being a good worker and worrying about what's right in front of you at that time and trying to get that video to the WWE or doing tryouts. And so, it's only at some point we all decide to start learning about the business and how it operates and how it evolves and how it changes as you go along. Because, there's different mindsets is all I'm saying. And I think when I came along, like I said, I never went through the process of chasing the dream, I was pretty quickly into the promoting side of it and trying to learn how the business operated. I had to learn how it chewed people up and spit them out. And I think Brad had just gotten to that point is what I'm saying, because for years, he and I would get into arguments and discussions about things, but and he asked openly about the show first, me first thing when it came up, and I guess that's some of what I'm saying too. Is when you're chasing that dream, it's all me first. You know what I'm saying? It's people try to say, oh well, no, it's show first, this first, that first. Well, it's really not. You don't make it show first until you decided that's where you're going to settle down and make it your gig and put everything you've got into it and bring it up. Because trust me, when you're just jumping around from show to show for every booker and getting that little envelope of pay, I get it. You don't give two shits about most of the promotions you're going to. You just care about getting your shot in the ring, honing your craft, making sure you're getting better for the next level, getting that envelope, moving on to the next place. It's not until you make a commitment to a place and set down roots and decide to start building it up that you actually can become a show first guy, because that's one of the first steps in being a show first guy is saying I'm going to put that show first and help build it, help it grow, help cultivate it. And that's when you start to learn about the business. So, and that's what I'm saying. Mikey chased that dream, and he went through that period. And so, we had different areas there because I immediately was into, well, I've got this, and I've got to cultivate it, and I've got to grow it, and I've got to build it. So I've got to be a show first guy. And he'll tell you, man, when we talk about him being in management, it was a lot of that. I'd be like, man, people hate to hear this, but if you're going to be in management, you can't see the boys' side. They don't get that either. They don't understand. You have to. They don't understand that every decision we make has to first and foremost be in the best interest of the show. Period. Above me, above you, above any worker, above anything. And for the success of the show, that's the way it has to be. And that's where I get into the show first thing. But that's not where we're at. And I guess what I was going to say is only here on this last run have I truly felt that he's just been 100% show first guy. And he told me he was. You told me you were whenever he came back this time. That was one of the discussions we had. He wanted to grow the company, cultivate, he wanted to be the best he could be as far as that side of it, and teaching guys and help him with several areas in the locker room. And so, just to recognize him publicly, I mean, I could go on forever. There's a guy I've got stories with, been at his house till 4 in the morning, several weekends in a row, talking about the business and the differences in opinion. Because, like I said, I've always been, and we went weekly back in 2007. So, I mean, and he was a booker during a period of that, and we'd butt heads there, because when certain issues had come up, he'd see it somewhat from the boys' side, and I'd be like, man, you can't do that when you're in management. You don't understand it. You have to see it from the show's side, not my side, not Jermaine's side, not Aaron's side, the show's side, So, anyways, I love you, Brad. I think, honestly, in ring, in the locker room, in all areas of the business right now, you are at the best that I've ever seen you at. I think your match Saturday night would show that, prove that to a lot of people. I don't know that anyone's going to say, just as far as an overall match with story and everything hitting where it should have on every note and capturing the crowd like it should, because I watched it, he watched it. Everyone watched it, and they can say whatever, but I mean, it was like every moment was there, and just, what you've helped cultivate and create in the locker room and the atmosphere, and then, just the several areas that you've improved in throughout this last year that you've been here, thank you. So, anyways, bullseye of the week later. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to eat my ice cream.
Oh. You just gonna start eating on the ice cream? That's cool, man. I have no problem. I'm gonna continue to talk about Brad. Yeah, I know it. Yep, hey, he's back. That's the power of Wesley's a bad man. But anyway, me and Bad Brad, our roots intertwined too. Actually, he started planting mine. As a matter of fact, he's one of my original trainers. One of the 4, I guess I'll say 3.5. I don't know how we'll view that, but Brad put in a lot of the foundation that I carry to this day, so I've always been appreciative of that. I still learn from Brad. Brad put over earlier, he learned from me, and so we're banging back and forth now in the back, trying to figure each other out and figure the business out and help each other grow, and I'm cool with that. Always appreciative of that. So I support this 100%, him being the bullseye of the week. And if anyone else wants to call in, because as we shoot back, that number is on the screen. Bam, there you go. And you can call in and you can let us know how Bad Brad Michaels has helped or not help. You could shoot if you want. I promise you we will shoot back if it gets out of hand, though. But hey, that's a different story. We'll get back to the topic. Anyone can let us know how they feel about Bad Brad Michaels. And yeah, I'm putting it out there. I see we got like 300 people watching the show right now. So hey, any one of you 300 people that want to voice your opinion on anything, do it. Do it. We got time. We doing our thing. Looks like we got a caller. Who we got on here?
It's just Donnie.
Ah, it's just Donnie. Well, I know.
One, I said that when you called. I love you. I do. I know your number. I know I've said some things in the past, but I'm going to have you on this show eventually just so I can suck your ass and get back in your good graces. Now, should we call him It's Just Donnie?
Nah,
That's
man,
how he said It's Just Donnie. So we should be like, It's Just Donnie.
Cool. I'll roll with that.
No?
Yeah, hey, I'll roll with it. That's
All
what
right,
you want
It's
to roll.
Just
It's
Donnie.
just Donnie. Well, it is just Donnie, and man, are you calling in on what I said? You got some words?
Actually, I switched over from YouTube to the live thing, so I missed about a minute of what happened, so I don't actually know what you said.
Nah. Then what you call for? What's on your mind?
I meant to say something last week, and I didn't get a chance, and that was I got to see Jermaine and Double D at their WWE tryout, and to use a cliche, those two actually stole the little bit of show that they got. There was, 3 matches, and I could have gone the rest of my life without seeing the other 2.
Well, boss,
So I just want to say congrats to you for standing out.
I appreciate that, sir, anytime. But this ain't my moment. This ain't my time right now. This is the time of Bad Brad Michaels, and I know you and him go way back. So if you've got some words for Bad Brad, man, spit them out. We didn't get a chance to do so last week.
Oh, I love Bad Brad. I consider him probably my closest friend in wrestling. He taught me a lot. I've traveled with him to IWW and several other shows plenty of times, and I could just sit and listen to his stories about him and Gary and Johnny and, from things that happened back in the day. And anybody that has time to sit and listen to him probably should, because they're going to learn a lot anytime they're and even in the area with him, because he loves telling stories, and information he has in his head is something that every wrestler should probably know.
Good words, man. Good words. I appreciate you calling in on that. That sums Brad up pretty well, huh? That sums him up pretty well. All right. Now, I got Donnie on here, and I know Donnie has always been passionate about this topic that we have, and I'm going to throw it to him
Thank you for
immediately.
calling Donnie.
I am going to throw this to you immediately. Our topic, it's coming up, is it New Year's Eve that it comes up? It is hold on. I might have to backtrack here. Looks like we got somebody commenting on the YouTube, which you all can do. Well, read it out loud. Man, come on. I wish you guys could have been around when Brad was just a kid wanting to get into the business, when he was hanging around the locker room and doing anything and everything that he could to break in. The drive and desire was there even then.
Booyah.
Who's that from now? I can't read the name.
I'm not sure. Kudaba 76. I don't know.
I didn't want to butcher your name, and I would slaughter that. So. But anyway.
I don't know. What? Okay, I think we're good.
Okay. Those words needed to get out. It's just Donnie. The topic is the Oakland fan top 50.
Was it the top 50?
Hey man, it can be Oakland fan in general.
Okay, hold up. I want to make my opening statement real quick before we let Donnie. What'd you say now, Wesley? You're gonna have to speak up a little, Donnie.
Okay, my bad.
You got to get off the speakerphone, Daddy. Speakerphone sucks. Are you on speakerphone? Donnie? Donnie.
We lost him.
Why'd he hang up on us?
Call him back.
What just happened there, Donnie? That's horrible business right there. Ah, he's back.
Fat fingers, wrong button.
Okay. That's why your wife married you, huh? Whoa, I'm sorry. It does say. It does say
It ain't the money.
TV. It ain't the money. Aren't you like a 2-star general or something in the Air Force?
I wish.
Okay.
I'm just a lowly E7, man.
So here, hey man, that's not lowly. That's Sergeant First Class. Check this out. Or in the Army, that's Sergeant First Class. What is it in the Air Force?
Master Sergeant.
Master Sergeant.
Yeah.
Brock, okay, the first one was Robbie. And then Brock Lander says that he learns something from Brad every time he's around him, and he has the utmost respect for him and what he has done in the business. Thank you, Brock. Here's my deal on the Oakland Fan Top 50. Now, there was a point that when it was brought up to me, I did the same as you, and I laughed, Donnie. And then the other day, you can ask, I've talked to a couple of people about this in the past week or so. I believe this is going to be the 9th or 10th Oakland Fan Top 50. Now, that means that the gentlemen that put that poll together and run it have been around for a pretty long time at this point. They have showed a dedication to the business, much like the rest of us in a sense, traveling around to different shows, reporting on them, witnessing matches, forming their opinions of who the top guys are and what it takes to become a top guy. And they claim openly that that's what the Oakland Fan Top 50 is a culmination of their opinions at the end of the year. And I'm at the point that whether you agree with their opinion or not and how they come to it, I don't think it's appropriate for us to laugh at it anymore. And I think that's why Jermaine's brought it up here tonight, because I'm like, at some point we have to begin to respect these guys for their form of dedication that they've showed to our business, because we crap on it all the time, but let's be for real. I don't crap on it. I'm sorry. I haven't for a while, and I think those in my locker room will know that. They'll say that openly. Dude's over here ignoring me while he's Facebooking somebody, but that's all right. I have the utmost respect for what Burnham and Isles and Steve Coe have been able to do that. Even another gentleman that I won't mention because maybe he would like that anonymity, and there may even be a couple more people, I don't know. But the three people I've mentioned have been pretty open about the fact that they were the creators of Oklafan. And it is number 9. We've just gotten that from Oklafan Fact Man. I think everyone can guess who that is. But my deal is at some point, you have to begin to respect it. And you're on 9, 10, 11. I mean, when you're doing that, it's like, because let's face it, man, people didn't respect IZW at one point. People didn't respect plenty of things. But that's what longevity is all about. That's what success is all about. And Oklafan, all in all, has had longevity, success. They've got registered members, I believe, close to 2,000. Everyone likes to talk shit about all the wrestlers on there or whatever, but there ain't 2,000 wrestlers around here registered up. You know, they keep track of emails and such, and they know what's going on. And they try to promote us. You know, that's what people fail to realize, too, is their website is out there on that same World Wide Web that our websites are on, and they're trying to promote us just like we should be trying to promote them. If we really want it, it's what I say about my Fed. It can only be as good as the people that give about it, you know. If we put in a little work just to help cross-promote a little and help build their site, that's going to reach out. Because, hey, I've got a few hundred or a few thousand fans, however you want to look at it. If I made a point to try to help get that site out there to those people, then that's opening up to more people. Get them some more members registered. Get them to follow along with it. Then if the other feds did, I mean, you know, so it's just...
I guess it's a team effort.
In a sense, I mean, because they do theirs. I'm just saying, I've been beyond shitting on them for a long time, but I still hear people do it a lot and this and that, and I'm like, man, I've seen them around for going on a decade, so I don't shit on much that's been around for a decade, you know, and it doesn't take breaks. They haven't shut down. They haven't, stopped covering wrestling, man. That dude has stuck with it for 10 years. And so has Isles, and so has Steve Coe, really, you know. I mean, they've all been there since the beginning. So, for me, legitimate. I don't care what anyone else says. We'll let this continue. I wish people would get off their asses and actually dial a phone and call in and have something to say. But it's all right. Maybe none of you have anything intelligent to say. So, you should maybe just leave your phone hung up. But...
Now, Donnie Brooks is a different situation from you. Donnie Brooks, when did you leave?
Oh,
like
and that's whether I
2010?
win number 1 or not. I just want to put that out there. There's no pitch there for that. I want number 50, as a matter of fact.
Say it again, Donnie.
I left in 2010.
All right, so he left in 2010. That's 3 years of not seeing the progress of that site. That's 3 years of in like, you know, right in front of you. You're seeing it from a distance now from California. So go ahead and give your honest opinion on how you feel about Oklafan.
Is there, before you do that,
I can't.
Is there a fucking delay?
I don't know. I'm on the Blog Talk now, but I know there's a delay going to YouTube. I'm not sure if there's one going to the Blog Talk or not.
I know that. I just mean between you and me on the phone. When I talk, does it take a second for people to hear me?
No, if you and Jermaine talk at the same time, you guys cut each other off. It just goes to silence.
Okay, well, okay, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry, because I cut you off a minute ago.
I can't crap on an Oklafan because that's one of those sites that I'm probably on 2 to 3 times a week just to see what articles they'll put out there. My biggest beef would be with the top 50 is just the criteria they use. If it's going to be a worked list and everybody knows it's worked, then you're going to put the wins, losses, all that stuff in there. But if it's meant to be like a legitimate list, you can't take that criteria in there. You just can't, because there's too many people that own their own feds that push themselves all year and give themselves every title in their fed. I mean, you could go on a win streak, 365 days long if you wanted to, but it doesn't mean that you're a great wrestler. It just means that you owned a fed, that you decided that you want to be a champion when you have 13 different championships to give out.
I'm sitting here and I'm letting you use my airwaves on my radio show, and you just use the time to bash me.
Nothing to do with you.
So,
why do you think it's about you? It could have been a number of guys out there.
No, well, here's the deal then. Legit deal. A minute ago, like I said, I cut you off jokingly and it's funny you say this because someone made a comment. I was reading on the Oklafan.com page on Facebook, and the comment was made by a worker in this area that they didn't necessarily give any merit or credit to bookers/promoters that book themselves into a championship spot or a company's championship spot. And I obviously, me of all people, disputed that with my reasoning being I had a couple different reasons. Well, really one on that, just the fact that if I'm not mistaken, during the territory days, there were multiple promoters/bookers that put the belts on themselves because it was the best business to do at the time. It was good business. And it made money, and that was just the reason behind it. And they were good workers, which I'm sorry, newsflash people, I'm all right. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm decent. So if I was just a hack, I could totally see people shitting on me, but I think I left hack status a few years back, so we'll just leave it at that. But it's just interesting because you bring that up, and we had that discussion. So legitimately, what's the criteria? This is what I'll ask you, because we know their criteria is traveling, working on different shows, gear, look in ring, which gear and look in ring are definitely must. Their opinions on workability, I would believe, come into play. These guys watch all the matches, so obviously Burnham, Miles, Steve Coe, the other person that will remain anonymous. They obviously have to judge the guys on their work rate, their ability in the ring, so they have their opinion of everyone's workability, which should be taken into account. So the gear, in-ring presence, and workability, I think those are I think everyone would agree on those. I did also disagree with just travel being important, because myself personally, hey, not everyone takes every fed seriously. I'm not being funny, but so I'm like, why does it count just because you went to some shit fed nowhere and worked in front of 27 people? And I won't get into that.
They themselves will straight state that there shouldn't be as many feds in this area as there is.
I know.
Yet you get credit for going to the fed.
Yeah. So either way, we all have our feelings on criteria, but I'm putting out what I believe it is mainly, what's been explained on the site even. So if you disagree with it, Donnie, it's just Donnie. What would your criteria be if you were a member of the Oklafam board that votes on this poll? What would your criteria be? What would you use if you were a part of making the criteria?
I like the majority. The only criteria I would take out that they use is win-loss record and titles held, because that's all. I mean, as we all know, it's predetermined. But win-loss record doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, because there's people that will never win very few matches, but they're probably one of the most over people on the card. You could have Double D go on a 3-month losing streak, and he's going to be over with the crowd. He just is. It doesn't matter that he lost 3 months in a row, because he's going to be over with the guys, because that's how he works. So I would take that out, and I would take off championships, held just because I don't know, championships held is.
Now championships held is supposed to be.
I was gonna say
company,
this too, but I'll let you, man. And you know what, Burnham? If we could get you to call in, man, it'd be awesome. I know you got free long distance on that celly phone, you know. So
that's the way of the world now.
Yeah, that's the way of the world. You could call in. Isles, you're more than free to call in. I would love to hear them talk about the criteria of it and all that. Is it, you know, it's a shooting range. We could shoot back and forth, discuss, because we've still got about 48 minutes here on the Shootin' Range. Brought to you by Impact Zone Wrestling. Impact Zone Wrestling takes place live every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time on GFL.TV, and the Shootin' Range here takes place every Monday night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Goes for an hour and a half, and we get super huge ratings, super huge following due to the fact that we're going up against nobodies.
Nope. But I guess what was I saying?
I have a question for you, Jermaine and Johnny. If you want to put the championships held in there, do you have to put a weighted system in, like just winning a title in IZW or a Fed that runs multiple times a year? That has to take more weight than, let's say, the guy who won the Nightmare Extreme Championship Wrestling title. Just because he won that title, they ran one show. I mean, you can't take that into account unless you're going to weight which championships the guy won.
I definitely hold on, here we go. First, I will hold that question. Is this Mr. Burnham?
Yes, it is.
Oh, man, Burnham, you are clear. You need to be up on your phone like this man, Donnie Brooks.
You can learn a thing or two from Burnham.
Well, we're with you, Mr. Burnham. Do you want me to answer the question that Donnie Brooks just asked me, Mr. Burnham, or do you want to go first?
I didn't hear the question that Donnie asked, so you can go ahead and answer that.
Okay, well, Donnie asked me about because we disagreed with him. We felt that titles held should be something taken into account on your poll, in our opinion, and he asked us, one, why, and two, if it should hold weighted value based on what title it is and at what company. Whether Mr. Burnham chooses to agree with me or not, Donnie, or whether you do, my answer to both questions is, one, why would be because titles being held, whether guys want to say this or not, because for some reason they feel like marks when they say it, titles being held is an important thing in a company, because normally if you're wearing a championship for that company, then that company has entrusted you to be a representative of them as an elite performer at that company. Because all titles are supposed to mean something. There's not supposed to be a mid-card title, if you will, if they're all handled appropriately. Because our Impact title is a pretty important title here, I believe, our Impact Division title. Obviously, our IZW Championship is our most prestigious and most important, and I think we make that very apparent. But I don't think we just treat the Impact Division title like some mid-card scrub title either. Our women's crown is handled very appropriately, I think. Yeah, our tag team
Yeah.
championships.
That ring looked funny.
Yeah, that ring looked funny because it's cut
That
off.
shit stays cut off.
And every company should handle it that way. When you make decisions on who is going to wear your strap, very, very, very seldom should you ever allow yourself to fall into a position where you have to put that title on someone just out of necessity to do it when you're not sure if it's the right decision, because you don't want to treat a championship that way, and you don't ever let it happen with your company's championship. And as far as weighted value goes, yes, Donnie, because and I say the company championship because that's your main representative. And if you're going to put that belt on someone, it's not like, just Ben, here's the company's championship. I mean, that's supposed to be serious business. It really is. That's supposed to be your money strap. That's supposed to be the one that draws everybody, that you can sell the story around, especially the big heel, when is somebody finally going to take this off that guy? I mean, you can make it more important than anything. And you don't want just anybody with that shit. If you do, well, then we just call you Sooner. So yeah, I mean,
I was wondering if that was gonna
they kind
happen.
of dumped that thing around. Okay, I will read this in a second from I don't know how we say that, Manal. I think that's how we say it. They have just, but okay, and that's the thing on the championships. The weighted value, I think you just got some of my belief on that by my last comment. My reasoning behind that would be kind of what you said is how many shows does that company run a year? To what level are those shows ran as far as professionalism, crowd draws? There's several factors that could go into that. But, I mean, legitimately, are you going to hold a championship on par when we run 52 shows a year live and whoever is wearing the strap for our company has to worry about being a representative for basically 52 weeks a year, drawing for 8 big shows? When there's some companies you could be at and be the champion and you work 12 shows a year, boom, period, one shot a month, and that's it. And I don't even think you can put that up against, say, a Mid-South where they run bi-weekly, and so they're putting out 26 shows a year, and they've been around for quite a few years and run pretty consistently. So their title is held in pretty high regard. So anyways, that's my feelings on the titles. I do think the titles should be taken seriously, a little more seriously than they are by some companies. I didn't even think about being near the IZW Championship for almost 10 years, legitimately. That's how serious I took it. There was no way I was going to let myself near it unless I knew that good business could be done. I didn't do it just to float my own boat, if you will. Now, thank you for joining us, Mr. Burnham. We'll give oklafan.com a plug. If you are a registered user of www.oklafan.com, then you should go there. The year-end awards are ongoing. The voting is still happening right now, I believe, Mr. Burnham?
Yes, it is. It will shut down either Thursday or Friday whenever I send Steve Coe the message to take care of that. So you don't have a lot of time left, but there's a little time still to go out there and vote.
Okay, so it's basically at the whim of Mr. Burnham. So you should get on it if you're going to vote. I don't know where they're at right now. They were moving along pretty well. We have also just opened up our online voting. You can get there by going to our Facebook at facebook.com/Impact Zone Wrestling, or you could go directly to izwrestling.com and vote in our 2013 year-end awards.
I'm about to do that right now.
So, with that being said, thank you, Mr. Burnham, for calling in. I do appreciate it. The floor is yours for at least the next 10 minutes. Why don't you tell the people what made you decide to start Oklafan, what your goals were with Oklafan when you started it, what you think you've been able to achieve to this point in Oklafan's existence, and why would you back the Oklafan Top 50?
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to get out there is that this is something I always have to correct anytime people talk to me about this. I did not start Oklafan. Steve Coe actually started Oklafan. He built it as a very simple GeoCity site, and it was all designed originally with a calendar in mind to promote wrestling events that were going on that we were aware of. Steve was just getting into the business. He just started. Actually, wasn't even in the business yet. I think he was still just attending shows, maybe doing a little photography. And he wanted to build this site. And he knew a lot about building websites, but didn't know a lot about professional wrestling. Well, he was a fan, but he didn't know a lot about it locally. And I was exactly the opposite. I didn't know anything about building websites. Never even thought about creating one. But I knew a lot about at least northeastern Oklahoma professional wrestling. And Brent Albright's wife said, "You two guys need to meet because you're going to fix each other's problems." And so Steve had built the first version of Oklafan at that point and brought me in and said, "Here it is." And we were going to keep it real simple at first, and then
the first reasoning was to promote wrestling. He wanted
yes.
He wanted to help the circuit. He wanted to put everybody over and build up the circuit.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the
yes,
first thing people need to understand, is that their first intention with Oklafan was to build up the circuit, to build up the companies in the area. For all of you that trash them and talk crap about Oklafan.com, its initial purpose was to promote your industry and make it more known to the people in this area. Sorry, this delay kills me, so I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And you've got to remember, that was back in, you asked when we started it. We're actually not exactly certain. We think it was towards the end of 2003. I do know that at the time there were only 4 feds in the state. You weren't running yet. CW was gone down to Texas by that point. But TPW, SRPW, Mid-South, and it seemed like there was one more, but I don't remember what it is right now. They were the only ones, so it was really, really simple. And a lot of the things that we formulated in the early days were designed with the idea that there was only 4 or 5 federations around, so it was going to be pretty easy to keep track of things. But then, tax season came, and everybody wanted to start their own fed.
Oh, wow.
And so it exploded from there. You ran down all those things you wanted me to cover. And
I wanted to know why did you start Oklafan? And you corrected me that you didn't,
right.
As Steve Co did, but you did answer what the intentions or what the hope was basically in starting it. It seems to promote the area.
Yep.
And then I wanted to know what your goals were outside of that.
Okay.
And then what of those goals had you achieved, and then why would you back your Oklafan Top 50?
Okay. One of the big goals for me personally, and I can't speak for Isles or for the other nameless member, but for me personally, I'm a history teacher. You know that. A lot of people around here know that. I really want to promote the history of professional wrestling in Oklahoma. I want people to remember that at one time this state was a centerpiece for a massive territory that was huge, and there was a lot of interest in professional wrestling in this area. So I did a lot of research, digging back through newspaper files, because, believe it or not, listeners, they used to print wrestling results in the newspaper. And I went back and dug up a bunch of those and filled in card histories dating all the way back to 1929. And that's also why we print or reprint as many articles as we do about guys. One of the things I get a lot of slack for is from people saying, "Why do you print all that stuff about guys that aren't, they've gone off from Oklahoma, they're not around here anymore, they used to work for here back when Bill Watts was around, but they aren't here." Well, again, it's that history connection. I want people who were interested in them to know what they're doing now and to be able to keep up with them now. So that's why we put that stuff, and it also helps put some content on the site because I can't write all the time. So that's one of the big goals for me, is to help promote what used to be and to bring awareness for people who enjoyed it back in the 80s and maybe are not aware, and then they get connected to that, and then they see, oh, there's all this other stuff going on in the state right now. I didn't know. I cannot tell you how many times I hear people say, I didn't know there was professional wrestling in the state or in such and such an area. And I ran my head against the wall going, with 11 feds in the state, how can you not know that something's happening here? That part amazes me. Even to this day, it still amazes me.
Yeah.
Backing the top 50. Okay. Well, you've already said, and correctly so, that it is the opinion currently of 3 people. We've actually had, and this was listed, I was listed this last year, I think we've had 7 different people total contribute to the top 50. Because when I first did it, I actually included, the first 2 years, I included 2 active wrestlers in my panel. They submitted their own lists because I wanted input from people who were wrestlers, because none of me or Isles or Steve, none of us were wrestlers. And so we couldn't look at wrestlers and determine at the same level, are they good? How good really are they? From a in-ring perspective, we could just look at them from, sitting in the ringside and going, I like watching their matches or I don't. So I wanted kind of a mix of that, but that became difficult after a while, finding guys who would actually be able to go as many places as we were going. So that kind of fell by the wayside. And then it just became really, for a couple of years, it was just me and Mike, because Steve always hated making those lists. So he bailed after a couple of years. And now it's me, Mike, and the third person. Backing the list, and Donnie Brooks. Is he still with us?
He's not. He
okay,
chumped out on us.
Okay. Well, to answer the critique about including win-loss and just to provide a little more in about the title history, people, I guess, assume that we put those criteria in as like top criteria, and what we really use them for is to break ties and to find ways. If we've got guys on our 3 lists that are in here and we end up with ties for a position, I mean, I can't just say, I could just say, well, I'm the owner and therefore I'm going to say this guy's ahead of this guy and we're going to go from that. I don't want to do that. So as arbitrary as it sounds, we can then look to win-loss records and say, well, they were booked more strongly and therefore they should, in a marked perspective, they should deserve to be at a higher position than this other person because of that. But it's really, if I have 5 criteria, win-loss is number 5, okay, of the 5. My top peeves are where you work, working, the number of shows you work, and how wide of a variety you work, because I personally want to be able to say, if I put somebody as the number 1 worker in the state, I don't want them working in a corner of the state only and have everybody else scratch their head and go, who's this guy? I've never heard of him. And I don't think that's ever going to happen, given that all of us on the committee agree that that's a pretty decent idea. But that's usually my argument when people say, why travel to a whole bunch of places and work? Why would you value that? It's because I just can't imagine putting somebody up there, but he only works in one Fed.
But what does he do at that one Fed? This is what I'd ask you. You made 2 comments, and since we're going to discuss it, before I let you finish, you said the win-loss thing and talking about him being booked more strongly, where I would disagree, because I would say that a good heel is not going to win very often at all. Not a good one, mind you. A heel that needs to win is a heel that doesn't have a very good character and isn't doing his job, in my opinion. That's just me personally. Most of the big-time heels that I've ever seen that have done good and made good money haven't needed to win all the time. They found ways to cheat their ways out of situations, as many dirty, underhanded ways as they could to maintain their status or their position and get along is basically what I've seen work. I haven't necessarily seen that heel that has to win all the time or that does. That's just my opinion. And then what was the other one I was talking about?
Win losses.
Oh no, the company deal. You said you don't like them just to be in one corner, and this isn't just for
Right.
me. We'll say this was even. We'll pick any other state, any uh. Let's not even relate this to me, but let's just say a guy's in, um, I don't know, Ohio, Missouri, Kansas, wherever, and there's 5, 6 feds in that state per se. But let's say there's one fed in the corner of it uh, that has all the kind of jazz that we have per se here. Gets good crowds. The guy can get paid good. He's getting seen everywhere because he's got the video and the TV and stuff going everywhere. Working with great talent, and is actually being a draw and doing what a worker is supposed to do. Um, what's wrong with that? I mean, why, if that person has the opportunity to work every week at a place and do that, why should he want to travel, or why should he need to?
Right, and we had this discussion before, and from his perspective, from the worker's perspective, for the betterment of his career, he doesn't have to worry about it. But also, from the worker's perspective, he shouldn't necessarily worry about where he falls on my list as well. Because his booking is not going to be affected by where he falls on my list either.
I know. So I guess I'm just saying, why hold that against him? And that's not me or anyone. And they shouldn't worry about that. But honestly, to think about it, you would at some point, I hope, want your list to mean something to guys. That's kind of the discussion we're having here today. Is why should the Oklafan Top 50 matter to guys? And my contention has been, on some level it should matter because you guys have put in the work to make it matter. It's been 10 years now, a decade, and then hopefully it's going to be 15 or 20 for you guys. And I've already put over that I think the awards matter because people vote on them. So why should your opinion and Isle's opinion and our person that will remain anonymous, guys that have put in the effort and went around and followed and watched. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think if you took your win-loss thing out of it, and I don't know about the title thing. I think it's more the win-loss thing to guys. Anything, hell, leave your deal in there about where guys travel. Who cares? But I think you'd have a lot more people even take it more seriously from you if you said that the win-loss thing wasn't a part of it. If you were just looking at what you thought guys were doing as far as telling stories and actually selling tickets and drawing crowds and their gear and their look and how they did in the ring, and you just, because, hey, you said, don't make the call because you're the owner, but have discussions. Figure those positions out. Don't make it arbitrary. Just talk amongst each other. You'll come to an answer. It'll take a night of liquor and arguing and yelling, but you'll figure it out. I mean, I'm being serious. I think you want your list to mean something. People, the PWI 500 has become a sham to an extent, and that's because everyone just sends in results and all this other crap. But I think I made the argument to Jermaine one day, if they kept that thing at like 150 or something, it might be a different ball game, because they can actually judge some of the higher-end talents.
When we started the idea, when Isles and I kicked around the idea of making the top 50, the inspiration for both of us was the 500, and we wanted to initially make it a 100 because by the time we started, we thought there were perhaps 100 good quality workers in the state. And when we all submitted our lists, we came up, all 5 people submitted the lists, and we had a total of 75 people on all of our lists. I mean, there was enough overlap that we only got 75 people total. And I said, okay, I guess we'll just cut this down to 50 then. So that'll work.
I don't know what you want out of it. Like you said, your goal initially has been just to share knowledge with people. So maybe the top 50 is, I don't know, just a tool to draw people to your site or whatever. But I've always gotten the impression that you would want people to take it seriously and have some respect for it. And I think they do it to an extent, or people wouldn't have bitched and cussed about it over the years like they have, because they want to feel like it's more valid, I think. Maybe that's what I'm saying. I think guys that are on it and guys that read it and look at it, I think they want to feel or see. They want to be able to justify it to themselves with more validity or being a more valid place to go and check out some guys. And I think when they hear that you're putting win-loss into it on any level, they just immediately go, dude, you just can't do that. That takes all validity away, because any position you give to a guy over that to us is just, it's like, why would you do that? You got to be able to talk and do it a different way. Am I wrong, Jermaine?
How do you feel about it, Donnie?
I agree.
I agree.
Get in the phone, Donnie. All right, then.
Where you at, dog?
Donnie, I didn't mean to run you off.
I'm here. I'm agreeing with Donnie. The win-loss thing. As soon as I hear it, I'm going, it's predetermined. There's nothing about my win-loss record that says anything about how a person is a worker. It doesn't.
John asked the question: is the list still important?
By the way, I'm 2-0.
You are 2-0 in your career. You're 2-0. But John asked the question on how important do people outside of the people who make the list feel it is. So how important is it to you, Donnie? I know you check it. So
The list?
yeah.
I like to see where I think certain people are. Because a lot of the time, I mean, most of the people on that top 15, I would say, yeah, they're probably the top 15 in the state, but usually the number 1 through 5, probably never agreed with.
Are you on
After
speakerphone,
4 or 5
Donnie?
years, I knew about the site. No, I guess my phone just sucks.
Or you do?
Plugged in, maybe that has something to do with it.
When you informed us your phone sucked, it sounded wonderful.
Yes.
Just talk like that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just talk louder. I'm in my little apartment, so I'm always afraid I'm going to disturb my neighbors.
Oh, fuck them. Burnham, you wanted to say something to the man. The man is on the phone. Let him have it.
No, I didn't have any direct comments towards him. I was responding to what he'd said earlier,
About
just to
the
make sure that he
win-loss
understood and everybody understood about the win-loss, with the use of the win-loss in there. That was all.
It's so weird because I can, just so you know, most times I can even somewhat see it from a face's side. I could see win-loss somehow relating to how strong they've been booked. I actually could, but then I go, well, man, I've seen those stories where that face doesn't win for a long time. Just depends on what he's chasing. So I don't know. It's such
Where
a
was
crazy
that face
deal.
at before? Was that face in a position where he was winning for a long time? Is this just a dude who never wins? Because, you got to see it from different viewpoints there.
I don't know.
You got the long run.
You got me on I don't know there. Burnham still got me thinking about the deal earlier, the total
Where you wrestle?
No. I'm thinking to myself.
All right. Any final thoughts about this deal? Any final statement we want to make here?
Overall, I think they've put in, they said this will be number 9. And so that's really all I wanted to get at. I guess I wanted to find out what his overall purpose of the Oklafan Top 50 was, and if it's legitimately meant strictly just for entertainment and, hey, we just want to be able to throw our opinion out there on who we think the top 50 guys are, which I think is all it is. I don't think they really necessarily care how people view it, I guess, is what I'm getting from Burnham. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. They just want to throw their opinion out there on who the top 50 are. And Burnham's 100% correct. Workers shouldn't worry about where they're at on the list. It shouldn't affect them in any way on what bookings they take or who they choose to work for. So in the end,
And they shouldn't call us drunk at 2 a.m. in the morning to complain about what their position is.
they should not call drunk at 2 a.m. in the morning to bitch and complain about their position. That's 100% true. No, he's right. I wrote it the other day that whoever gets the number 1 on that or the top 10 or whatever is going to be worthy in their opinion, and that's what should matter. And I think that's what the whole point of this show will be, is that in the end, the top 50 poll is just entertainment value, almost pure and simple, just to go look at it and see what three guys think about the circuit each year. And you can take wherever you're at on that list and use it for whatever type of motivation or no motivation. Don't ever look at it. Don't care. But I guess the point I was getting at is when these guys have been around for almost 10 years, when does your opinion of their opinion change? I guess is really what I'm getting at, is what I've been saying, Berm. You're saying, and I definitely agree with you, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't affect you to any point on what type of bookings you take or anything. But if any of these guys in this area respect your opinion or Isle's opinion or this person that will remain anonymous, his opinion at all on what they think of wrestlers, that's what I'm asking. At what point do guys in the state start saying, hey, I'd like for their opinion of me to be better than this? You know what I'm saying? Or does it never matter to them?
I think it matters. It would matter.
Somewhat. In the end, your first opinion that should matter to a worker is the promoters in the area. And I always say that's above, beyond anything. If the best promotion in an area doesn't want you, then you need to look in the mirror there first before you ever look at any poll and where they vote you. And I guess that's some of what I get into is the whole argument of what feds you work at. Like, no opinion, but if Sooner or some, I don't want to get into name calling, but some other feds up north, wherever, if some of them never called me, I wouldn't care less, is kind of what I'm saying. So there's only a couple feds in the state I'll work for, and I think we all know that. And hell, I haven't even gone out of the state. There's been a couple places out of state, one in Texas and one somewhere else that has asked me about working, and I care less to go there. But first and foremost, that's the opinion that should matter to you, is the bookers in the area. If you can get booked, then you've passed the first step. Then if you can get booked on good shows, you've passed another step. So anyways, that's where I'm at on it. I do respect your opinion, though, Burnham, and Isles even, and that person that will remain anonymous, and I'm not afraid to admit it, but that's because I know that it's not like the PWI 500. Like I said, the PWI 500, they can rank all the guys on WWE, TNA, ROH, Dragon Gate, some of the, I don't even know about, does Dragon Gate still exist?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, some of the main feds that they view as main feds, they could probably rank those guys pretty accordingly. I'm not being funny, because they watch those guys all the time. I guess that's why I'm saying, to me, I've always kind of looked at your poll a little differently, and it's, maybe gotten a little more upset at times or talked to you about it, and even asked you about it now, is because you guys actually are watching the product. See, y'all aren't just pulling names out of a hat and ranking them. You guys actually go to the shows and watch our products and see what's going on and have your opinion of what works. And you get to see what works and doesn't work. You get to go to the feds that only run once a month or run bi-weekly or run weekly like us. And you get to see what they're doing crowd-wise. You get to go see our stuff on the GFL or whatever, even when you're not here, and see how the crowds are doing or how the show's doing or how this guy's doing. And you do that. And I know Isles checks his shows out, and I know this other guy does. And so that's what I'm saying. I put a little more into y'all's thing than I maybe even you think you should, is because when you're actually watching the product, then you're getting to form make an informed opinion, I guess is what it would be. Nobody's just sending you stats and stuff. That I think that's why people really, after about 150, don't care about the PWI anymore, is because most of that's just mail-in stuff. But anything that those guys are actually witnessing and ranking, that's a little different, because now it comes down to, well, how do you value those guys' opinions? You know what I mean? So that's really what it comes down to, and everybody values people's opinions. That's why we work, even in the crowds. Guess what? If you're drawing good crowds and they're chanting your name, or they're booing against you, or they're buying your merchandise, or you're getting voted for certain awards, then that just shows that you're held in a pretty high opinion with the people in the crowd. Did any of that make sense?
It sounds absolutely correct. I especially like when you say it's an informed opinion, because I think that's the best term for what I try to do. What we all try to do is that we have been around this for a long time. We've watched quite a lot of different product, and we're not just newbies, and we're not pure marks off the street would come in, and that was all, at least from my perspective, that was all I ever expected to be, was some guy who sat in the crowd and watched shows every weekend and wanted to have some way to give back to a business that I wasn't even in. And I never expected to get to the positions and the opportunities that I had now. That's a discussion for a different show, though. But yeah, the informed opinion thing, I think, is a great way to classify it.
And I guess that's all I was trying to say. I think that's why I asked, at what point will people start to view the poll a little differently and take their position on it a little more serious? Because it's not going to make you any money. We all know that, and it's not going to get you. But hey, you know what? Who's to say at some point that some promoter in one part of the state doesn't look at that poll and say, hey, you know, I haven't heard of that guy, as you said. And like you said, maybe it's because he didn't travel, and this will be his opportunity to travel. I don't know. Like I said, it's not going to basically get any guys anywhere new in the business or get anyone any paydays. But I think guys should always strive to be held in high regards in anyone's opinion. And I think if they're doing their job on their show and drawing good crowds and such, then y'all are going to see that, and that's where they're going to end up getting higher up in the rankings. And we've seen that because normally, I mean, there's been arguments, but for the most part, I don't think people have complained so much about your number 1 through your number 5 most years. I hear most of the arguments come after that. Happens pretty quickly, but normally it seems like everyone's pretty close in on the top 5, but then you hit 6 and shit goes haywire. It does. I don't know why. It's like everyone's like, I could go with that top 5, maybe switch it around a little. I don't know. But then they hit 6 and they're like, what the what? What is that dude doing there?
Soto Miyagi.
Yeah.
What's the deal? I hope he makes it this year. Soto, I hope him and Ryder get a good number. I'm rooting for him.
I don't know if they worked enough matches,
man. I'm rooting for it. At one point, me and Jordan wanted to be 51 and 52. This conversation has enlightened me now. Maybe
I almost think that's where some of Burnham's travel thing comes in with these guys, too. The more those guys travel, the more matches they get in. And I know Burnham holds that in high regard.
Your
people
matches
working
out of
a
state
lot.
don't count, huh?
No, your matches have to be in state. Isn't that correct, Burnham?
Yes, that is correct.
Womp womp.
Yeah. Who you trying to get matches out of state from?
Oh, man, hey, I don't know. Just talking. What we doing here? We
I don't
got
know,
much
man.
time.
We got like 12 minutes left. We're just talking, man.
Well, man.
We got Burnham here, the conversation. We just kept kind of talking about stuff. I think we've all got our points across. Yeah, we don't have time, I don't think, today for our bullseye.
No?
No, I think we should say that for next week. We finished up with Brad. I think we know. I don't even think our bullseye's watching this week.
No,
so I'd like
not.
to save it for next
Probably
week.
Not.
I don't know, man. Burnham's got me thinking maybe I need to start working up northeast, Daddy.
Hitting the loop.
Hitting the
You
loop.
want to start hitting the loop? Oh, man.
I'm sure you could spare one weekend every 3 months.
Oh, man. Quit being a dick, Gandhi. We're trying to extend olive branches, man. Jermaine's heading up north.
At the West Coast, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, January 19th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, let's give a shout out to Tim Rockwell. I don't know if he watches the show, but Tim, you got a good thing going up there, Wrestling for a Cause. Anyone that watches our show, check it out. If you can find the website, I'll put it over.
Burnham, help us out with that.
Burnham, you got the website for Wrestling for a Cause?
I'm sure it's on the links for my site. Let me check that out. It may just be the Facebook.
Look at this. We're going to get
I
an
know they've
Oklafan
got-
plug. Mr. Burnham is going to go check out www.oklafan.com, the site that he runs, to check the links on www.oklafan.com.
Oh, my God. What
To
a
see,
plugger.
to see
The WFC website. The WFC website is www.wfccharity.com.
Bam!
There
Did
you
you
go.
hear that, people? At www.oklafan.com, Mr. Burnham was able to locate the link to Wrestling for a Cause website, which is www.wfccharity.com.
Ah.
So if you want to go and you want to do a good thing, if you want to go and do something for charity and help Mr. Rockwell up there out, Mr. Villain himself,
Mhm.
raise some money, for some needy kids,
Good
for
cause.
some
Good cause.
families that have medical tragedies of their own going on, people with terminal illnesses, some without, I believe, they have a chance for recovery. If you want to help them out, I believe you can make donations at that site. They have a show coming up January 19th.
Yeah.
That Mr. Johnson here will be on, that I
Me,
believe Double D
yeah.
will be on.
Just about to mention that. Me and Double D be making our WFC debut on that show.
WFC debuts. And so let's remember, above and beyond everything else, that selling tickets, putting asses in the seats is the most important thing for any worker. And especially in this case, you need to come out for Wrestling for a Cause, for the old WFC, to check out some IZW superstars as well that will be there raising money for a good cause. We'll plug that again here over the next couple weeks. But Mr. Rockwell, good thing you got going there, WFCcharity.com. Oh, and while we're plugging websites, don't forget IZWrestling.com, Facebook.com/Impact Zone Wrestling, Twitter.com/IZW World.
Jermaine About Me. That's my Twitter. What's your Twitter?
My Twitter is MBL_Johnny Z.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
At MBL Johnny's, it's not
Underscore.
IZW.
No, Johnny Z.
It's just it's my Twitter, and I don't know it, people. Yeah,
Wesley
it's
just
at
hooked us
MBL_Johnny Z.
You foul, dude. You wrong for that.
What?
Not knowing your Twitter.
Not knowing my Twitter,
Yeah.
man. I got people to do that for me. I got like a 17-man crew that runs all my sites and
You
shit.
have a
don't you know?
2-man, 1-man crew who does the work of a 17-man crew. Give it up for Wesley Bradfield, people.
Man, anything else we can plug, Mr. Burnham? We got about 8 minutes left.
Donnie, you got something you want to plug?
You got
Plug
anything,
something,
Donnie?
man.
Plug
Put a
it.
show
Oh,
over.
Merry Christmas to everyone. I know that is not politically correct.
Mhm.
I know I
That's
just
what we
lost
say,
like 17 viewers from the West Coast. They're very liberal out there. But Merry Christmas for those of you that are cool with the holiday. Don't take it personal. Merry Christmas. Go get a Christmas tree. Put that mug up. Decorate it with some Christmas decorations.
Kids about to be on
Put
Christmas
some,
break.
put some Christmas break. Put some Christmas presents under the tree. Some Christmas lights on the house.
I'm going to drink some Christmas
Send out some
eggnog.
Christmas cards.
Yeah.
Just Merry Christmas, people.
Watch some Christmas movies. What's your favorite Christmas movie? Mine is Home Alone 2.
Mine is actually the first Home Alone.
Ah.
Sorry.
Christmas Vacation.
Bam!
Woo. The Christmas Story. Heard that.
All right, what you want to plug, Donnie?
I have a show on 27th December, Vendetta Pro Wrestling, up in Santa Maria, California. If anybody from California that listens to your show, come on up, check it out. Radisson Hotel.
Legitimately, I'm sure there are. We do have a couple hundred people that listen live right now. We hope to continue that growing. But we also get a couple hundred, 200-300 downloads a week for each episode. So it's not huge numbers, but when we're in the hundreds, man, there's no telling where they're from. I'm sure I could check some kind of stats. Most of those sites do that. And we'll get on that. This has been kind of a wandering episode of the Shootin' Range. That's what happens when you...
Oh, did you just see that?
What just, huh?
Did you see that?
Was it? Do it again. They're here on the Shootin' Range. Hold on. Here on the Shootin' Range. Wait till you see that back home on YouTube,
man,
people.
I'm
That
loving
was
this.
insane.
Oh, these good.
But
Oh, these good.
this is what happens when you have a 2-line format. You have a wandering show
Say
like
the
this.
name again. Say
The
the name.
Shootin' Range. Muppets Christmas Carol is Brock Lander's personal favorite. I'm all right with that. I like me some Muppets in my life. I really want to thank
I
everyone.
personally met the Muppets.
You what?
I met the Muppets at Tribute to the Troops last year in Virginia.
Right on, Bubba.
Was Kermit the Dick?
Burn him on
Kermit,
it. Thank
Kermit's a prima donna.
Ah,
He big time me.
see, I told you. I said it.
I would like to hope that we could get you in here most weeks, Burn. What we should do is we should get you in here each week to get one interesting fact about the Oklahoma wrestling scene, because you are the fact man. and you said now that you've been going since '03, so you should have plenty of facts to share with us. And I don't know, maybe we'll even come up with something. If you can ask a question that the people can answer, we can give away some kind of prize.
Ooh.
A Shootin Range T-shirt.
Well,
I wish we had the graphic. Everyone, we have a new T-shirt coming out for the Shootin Range. And it's gonna say, you know what? We'll just promise the debut of that next week. Everyone will get to see the new shirt for our show here. They'll be going on sale to support the show. They'll be over at izwrestling.com under our store section, IZW shop. I'll have all that ready next week, the links and such to put up here. We will be starting to sell gear over there, the T-shirts, probably getting some hoodies and other things. But you know, we'd like to get some help supporting the show. Start trying to find different ways to get it out there. But yeah, we could have a segment on each week's show called This Week's Fact with the Fact Man, CM Burnham. What you think of that, Mr. Burnham?
That sounds like a cool idea.
Okay, so we'll work on that. What about plug Tribute to the Troops? I got a question mark. I would like to plug it. What date is it on?
I believe it's December 28th.
December 28th.
You are correct.
Is that a Saturday?
Yeah.
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 That's going. So check it out. Here's how I'm going to plug it. I'm going to tell you.
Watch the replay.
Watch the replay and DVR it, because if you DVR it, then that means that you can be here at our show, Impact Zone Wrestling, this Saturday night, December 28th. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 7. Those are all Central Times. It'll be the most amazing night of your life. Or you can watch it on GFL, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. And then you can watch your DVR version of Tribute to the Troops, because you should never watch it live if it's on a Saturday night. I'm sorry, I really need you to be here if you're in this area and it's on a Saturday night. It's what helps pay the bills. Actually, these workers, these wrestler guys here, they need you to be here, because then they can actually claim to be selling tickets, which is what they're supposed to be doing. If you're if you're not here, then they can't claim to be doing their job.
Oh man, heat coming from the IZW champion over here.
Burnham, when are you back with us, man?
I'm back on January 11th.
So you're gonna miss our 350th show,
which is the year-end award.
Yeah.
The year-end award show. What happened there? How are you missing that?
I gotta be ring announcer for one of those little feds up here in the Northeast night that runs once a month.
On our 350th show? They wouldn't understand.
I know. No, sadly they don't.
Wow. Is there anything I could do? Could I send them a Shootin Range T-shirt? No, I love you. I do. We got about a minute and a half left. Who wants to go out with the bumpin' ass video?
I support that.
Hello?
I would never turn down the bumpin' ass video.
Wesley, I think
I'll get off the phone so I can go to YouTube and watch it.
Yeah, I think we should do this, Wesley. Everyone, thank you for another Shootin Range. I promise next week's Shootin Range will be better. We'll have this week's fact.
90 seconds.
We'll have this week's fact with the Fact Man, CM Burnham, starting next week. We'll have Johnny Z Hates, the first edition of that next week. And we will have maybe another superstar as a special call-in guest. You never know. Hit that video.
First. My arms are like two long muskets. Got the budget to put you on the spot. I haven't trying to save them. Wrong with the tough shit. Trusted I'm a master of killer shit like
Oh my gosh. I did not even do nothing wrong, I swear. Oh no, they're all coming after me. Oh crap, I can't remember how to reverse. I should have picked out a truck for my getaway car instead of this hippie van.
10.
Run! Run!